Today's Poker Live podcast, we're going to help all you poker players out there get better at tournaments coming up for World Series of Poker 2019 so you don't all go broke, lose your backers' money, have to get a job at Subway after the summer ends, and hopefully we can make you all winning players and you all can win a bracelet out there. What's going on, guys? Join your one, a.k.a. Chicago Joyce. This is a Poker Live podcast. It's been a fun week of podcasting, guys, and we have an epic week coming up next week. Monday night, America's Cardroom CEO Phil Nagy, who I've been accusing of letting his site run rampant with cheating and botting, will join me on the podcast. Next Wednesday, we got my boy Lex Veldhouse, Razzie, coming on the podcast. Tuesday, I'm putting up a vlog from my Poker After Dark 2550 Pot Limit Omaha session as well. And then this week, we've had some great episodes, guys. We had Alex Foxen, #1 GPI ranked tournament player in the world on Tuesday. Legendary episode. Yesterday, my boy Chance Cornith, co-founder, Chip Leader Coaching, and a man of many, many things, was on the podcast yesterday. And we're finishing up Chip Leader Coaching this week, guys, and this week's sponsored by Chip Leader Coaching. Chip Leader Coaching, they do coaching and staking. It's a coaching for profit staking website. Actually, it's not staking technically, but they do end up staking a lot of guys. They have a lot of coaches on the site, including today's guest, and they want to promote their upcoming World Series of Poker boot camp on May 9th. I believe May 9th it is. It's a free boot camp. Links in the description below. You can go check it out. Winning players only, please, if you do tell them you came from me. And joining today on the podcast is one of the Chip Leader coaches. So is one of the Chip Leader coaches on the site as well. Works with about 7 students for Chip Leader Coaching. Longtime tournament player, online, live, millions of dollars in results. But I feel like if you play tournaments for 10 years, Daniel, do a lot of players have millions of dollars in results when they've been playing tournaments for 8, 9, 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, like 1 or 2 million's not a lot anymore in terms of winnings.
All right, so step it up, all you guys. Under 1 million. But we got a young gentleman, man, longtime grinder, finished second in the 10K PCA main event this year down in the Bahamas. You guys might realize most of PokerStars media actually left after the 25K, so I don't know if they put the full force of coverage into that 10K main event. But this man finished second to notorious Gino Ream. Unfortunately, I bet that wasn't a happy feeling at all. And also, one of my favorite things about this man is that, unlike me and many of you guys, he actually has the support of his parents when he plays poker and what he does, because his dad's always showing a lot of love on Twitter. I actually saw his mom on Twitter showing a little bit of love. And I don't know if the only time my mom ever watches anything I do is that she doesn't watch anything I do. She just pays attention to the tournament updates anytime I play a tournament, when I've only played about 15 tournaments lifetime. So she's not paying much attention to actually what I'm doing. So Dan actually has the support of his parents, and we're proud of that, goddammit, around here. So welcome to the Poker Live podcast, Daniel Strelitz. What's up, Daniel? What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me on.
Dan, how does it feel to have the support of your parents? Publicly?
It's pretty good. Like they were kind of iffy about it at the beginning, of course, because like I dropped out of school and stuff. But now they're my biggest fan. Like my dad will come watch me play for like 12 hours at a time sometimes. It's nuts.
What does he do when he just like sit there on the rail chilling?
He listened to the radio sometimes, and like he actually bought like this little chair thing, like a portable chair, so like sit on the rail and then walk around and stuff.
Okay, this guy. See, that's something. I think my stepdad might do that. He does work like 80 hours a week. Shout out to my stepdad, David. My mom would literally never do that in her entire life. I don't. That the support is not quite the same, I gotta say. And from a lot of messages I get, most parents aren't supportive. Did your parents were they always supportive of this, or were they supportive once you started having good results at your game?
I think it was they were kind of like nervous, like dropping out of school. But once I started like having success, and a great story is my sister asked my dad, like, is Daniel a professional poker player? Like, what makes him a professional poker player? And my dad was like, well, once I'm not giving him any more money to live his life, I think he's a professional at that point.
I think my mom might call me. That's actually a really, really great point right there. At what point are you a professional poker player? Probably when people aren't giving you money, or you aren't living off money you make from other things, and how you're supporting your lifestyle is from playing poker, whether that's actual results or the markup that you charge on your package that you live off of, right? I mean, listen,
markup.
I think we're going to get into that, Daniel. So Dan, you only play tournaments, correct?
I play cash every now and then. I'll play cash, and I play some mixed games every now and then too, but it's like 90% live tournaments.
Mm-hmm. So live tournaments, you started off playing the online tournaments and then went to live tournaments?
Yeah, well, I started playing when I was like 19, like taking it seriously when I was 19. and I dropped out of school when I was 20 before I could even play live. And then Black Friday when I was 21, so I had to like quickly adjust from playing online to playing live.
Yeah, I mean, some people. I tried I tried that too. I remember Black Friday happened. I was living in San Diego. I had $0 left. I tried that too. I remember Black Friday happened. I was living in San Diego. I had $0 left. I went on 2+2. I made a staking thread. I go, will someone stake me for cash games? Like I have no money. No money. I had $1,000 in my name. My rent was what, 1,600 or something like that, maybe a little bit less. And so I found a staking package. Shout Shane Sigsby. I'm a whale. Make sure you check them out if you do need staking. I will support them for the rest of my entire life. I tried the live poker thing, Daniel. I couldn't do it, man. I had to get the hell out of the country. Went to Vancouver. Best decision of my entire life. Did you consider something like that, or did right away you're just like, all right, let's play live. Let's see what we can do here.
I was really conflicted for the first few like months or like a year after Black Friday. I was kind of like just waiting to see what would happen, hoping it would come back. And then I went to Canada. So I actually have an embarrassing story.
Uh-oh.
I went to Canada to get back to online poker, and the bank there wouldn't give me a bank account. I had to like go somewhere else, get a new one, but that was later. And the place I rented was like, it must have been 200 square feet. Like it was the tiniest place I've ever been in like this shitty area. And so I booked a flight for like a week or two there to like get back to online poker. And then I just went back home the next day. I couldn't take it. So like it was pretty embarrassing, like booking flight to Canada, getting ready to play online poker, and then all this shit goes wrong, and then I was just like felt like crap. So I just went home, and I ended up like going back a few months later to actually set up, and I played on Stars and Party and stuff every now and then. I used to go for W Coop and Scoop every year.
What are the main tournaments that you're playing right now? Are you playing a lot of the bigger main events and then smaller stuff, or what's sort of your regular grind right now on the circuit?
I'll travel to like all the big WPTs basically. WPTs are the best for like non-World Series tournaments, I think. And then the Party Poker Live tournaments are really good now. I'll go there. And then also just like the local stuff in LA. There's usually a bunch of stuff here. And then I will go play cash at like Commerce every now and then.
Sounds like a pretty busy schedule then.
It's actually not that busy. I think I'm probably one of the like laziest poker players out there. Like I saw Foxen on there like talk about like nonstop grinding and always be working and stuff, and I'm like sitting here withering half the year. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is a more realistic approach to poker, Daniel. I don't think you have to be like Foxen's like I took 5 days off last 5 years. I don't necessarily think you need to be that way. And I was thinking about this today. Probably not GTO for a lot of players out there, because not all of us are mental machines where we lose and we're like, all right, let's back at it tomorrow. Most people that do that, they're going to lose more because their mindset's all discombobulated. So I do think a lot of players out there probably need that time and rest and regeneration in between. And I think this is more of a realistic approach to poker, whereas I advocate for the Foxen approach, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to do that. They're going to go broke.
Yeah, for sure.
So the Black Friday thing you mentioned, not being able to get a bank account up there, and I don't know if people realize that how much like stressful it is, because to get in the country, you need to bring I had to bring the bank statements, and then you got to hope you get the 6-month visa. They only gave me 3 months. Then you got to hope you get the bank account opened up, and you got to hope they don't close your bank account once you start putting money in there. You got to hope they don't kick you out of the country for some type of reason. So I'm surprised you couldn't get the bank account. Did you try all the banks when you were up there, or what?
Yeah, well, I tried one bank, and they just showered me. They're saying, "Oh, we don't give them to Americans," which my friend had one. I like knew it was complete bullshit, but like, what am I gonna do? I was like 21 years old at this point, like knew nothing. And then the next time I went, I actually called and made an appointment with a banker, and then it was just a breeze at that point. So that's the secret. If you want to make an account, just call and make an appointment. Like, let it know that you're coming to make an account, that you're American, and it was super easy at that point.
Yeah, say if you're trying to get a bank out of the country, guys, just go to every bank there. All right, every bank you can go to, talk to every person. If they say no, come back next day. Can I talk to Jimmy? Like, meet a new person there, man. All right, don't give up on getting a bank account. Bank account's pretty easy. Now sticking in the country and getting a visa, that's a little tougher of a challenge for sure, but still possible, I guess. What's kind of what have you been doing after you got second place in the PCA main event? Because that's obviously a pretty big score. I'm sure you're riding high, Feeling pretty excited. Maybe gives yourself a little bit of time to rest up for this World Series of Poker 2019. Feeling pretty excited. Maybe gives yourself a little bit of time to rest up for this World Series of Poker 2019 grind.
Yeah, I've actually been like you were talking about the mental state. My mental state of poker has kind of been off recently. Like I think I'm on kind of like a winner's tilt type of thing, where like tax wise I'm incentivized to go play as much as I can, but in reality I just like don't really feel like playing right now. So I think I'm just gonna try to keep fresh and like be ready and roaring for the World Series this summer.
Well, I think that's a pretty important thing to take note of because we know how much of a grind. I don't even play many tournaments, Daniel, and one 12-hour day of tournaments, and I'm pretty fried. Okay, I cannot imagine trying to play a full. I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, the no home tournament grind, I have no idea. It is so exhausting and taxing, especially sitting in the chair. You're trying to eat watch your posture. You're spending $15 on a damn banana from the Rio Cafe over there. It's what. So I feel like this time right now, this rest time, does seem like a pretty important thing to have a big summer.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so, go ahead.
It's just important to like be ready. Like summer is the most important time of the year for tournament players, obviously. So you want to like just bring your A game as much as possible, and it's really hard to do that when you're not in the right mindset.
Is there anything else you do or you plan to do? Because right now it's April 25th. World Series starts in 1 month, guys. 1 month, the Big 50 event. I think it's May 27th, something like that. So it's about to get kicked into higher gear. Obviously, we got Scoop coming up for some people. We got the Party Poker event up in Montreal is coming up here too. So people are going to be traveling up there as well. So what do you do to prepare to get into your A game? That top-notch mindset you can for this type of summer coming up.
I don't know. I don't really have any secrets. I just want to like relax and like get to the point where I really want to play poker, as opposed to like feel like I'm forced to play poker because it's my job. I want to like actually feel like playing tournaments, and the best way to do that is like kind of take a break and not play tournaments for a while.
Do you find that maybe watching poker content or watching any sort of strategy video or watching something like, I mean, there's infinite number of live streams out there. Do you feel like when you watch stuff like that, that sort of desire to say, all right, I want to get back out there and I want to compete, does that work for you?
Yeah, for sure. Especially watching like Live at the Bike. I've been watching nonstop recently. Especially like they have Tuesdays and Friday games are always really big. And whenever I see like a guy make a play that's a little out of line for sure,
bang.
That makes me want to go play more, because I'm like, man, that guy is making a mistake and those people are taking advantage of it, and I'm just sitting on my ass doing nothing. So it makes me like, all right, I want to be out there taking advantage of these guys making mistakes.
You know, interesting enough, that's what watching that Live at the Bike, the $1 million cash games this year, and watching those Friday games, that gets me so fired up, man. I kind of forgot how fired up watching poker cash game, even though I don't play much no limit now, I play mainly PLO cash. It still gets me so excited to go play. I just love seeing it. I love seeing the guys compete in there. You got Garrett up there putting on a Garrett show. You got guys like Art popping in there. The Tuesday, Thursday games, you got my boy Dennis in the mix doing some he has an interesting pre-flop strategy for sure. Shout out to my man Dennis, and he's always mixing up on there. They put in he has an interesting pre-flop strategy for sure. Shout out to my man Dennis, and he's always mixing up on there. They put in the Jamie Gold in there. Whenever I see Jamie Gold, I'm just excited to play because Jamie Gold's a legend of the game. So yeah, what about coaching? Does coaching kind of get you fired up to want to go play more?
Yeah, definitely. It helps for sure. Especially because talking to my students, I have like a little group chat with them, and talking with them gets me like, all right, I'm ready to get out there and do it. It's kind of like building each other up.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty important thing that many people are going to overlook, because I think that a lot of us suffer with, I've kind of been having some people on the podcast lately who, when you see them, you're like, my God, like they're guys kind of machines in a lot of ways, right? They're just, they've been doing it for consistent every day. They're kind of, oh my, I got to go play every single day sort of thing like that. And I think that's not really realistic of a lot of poker players out there, because most players, they need that regeneration. It's just not possible to do that. And also, they need to be able to figure out ways to regain that motivation. So whether that comes from sitting on your ass doing nothing and just missing poker, or whether that comes from talking with your friends or working with students like you're doing, or watching content or watching this podcast, which I know a lot of people out there do tell me, gets them fired up to go play, you got to find your thing for you, because that's what's going to help you perform at your best. Because if you played a lot of poker where you were just like, Not in it. You don't, whatever.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
kind of taking it like that. What have your results been like that?
Uh, so when I'm playing online, I feel like I do better when I like don't give a crap about like
I can
anything.
see that.
It's always at the end of a session when you're like super tilting. Like I'm one tabling. I have like 14 bigs. I don't really care about this tournament. I always end up doing super well in that one because like I feel like you just don't care, so you'll just take those extra spots, and like if you run good in one or two of those extra spots, it's pretty good. But yeah, like I don't know how people like Ari just go from day to day and tourney to tourney. Like they just nonstop grind. I could never do that. Like I need lots of breaks. Just get my mind straight. Get like it's exhausting too. Like body tired.
Yeah. Do you have
Like
any?
after like a big tournament and like going deep in a tournament, first thing I always want to do is just sleep. Like I don't know how people celebrate after wins. I'm just so tired. My brain is just fried after like going deep in a tournament.
Do you have anything that you do besides kind of sleep, kind of take it easy to recover from that? Because that's something. I mean, I went deep in that 10K Pilo last year. Like I said, I'm dead, man. Day 3. I'm like, how day 3? I'm like, my God.
I actually had a piece of you in that, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. You guys did a piece of me. That's true. Shout out to you guys. We almost took that down, buddy. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Maybe this year
next
we might
time.
do that. What's kind of the tip? What might be a tip for some people out there that to help them get over this resting? Because obviously you've been doing this for a very long time. So and going deep in some of these tournaments, they're like 6 days, 5 days. I mean, 5 days, 12 hours a day. That seems a little out of line to me. But what's the secret? I don't even know, man.
I don't think there is a secret. I think you just gotta push through and just try to play your A game, and then when you're done, you just take a break, take it off, taking a day off, and just like sitting in your house doing nothing and like just brain off that's what works for me. Like just watching YouTube videos or just like playing computer games for like 8 hours, non poker for a full day, just to like reset basically.
I agree. I think that we all need to find what helps us turn our brains off, because if we're just sitting there idle, then our brain we're uncomfortable with the anxieties kicking in. We start shaking like we need where's poker? Where's online? You know, it's like that kind of thing happens. And yeah, so your sort of release for that is to some YouTube videos or some sort of like content where not poker and you don't really need to think and you can just kind of be there and take that in.
Yeah, just like getting my mind on a different subject. Like I said, I play a ton of video games, and then like my favorite thing on YouTube is just like top 10 videos. I could watch just like top 10 videos for like so many hours. That's what I did all last summer. My friends were like so sick of hearing the top 10 like celebrities or top 10 movie characters, shit like that.
Top 10 Avengers
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
I know you're excited for Avengers premiere tonight, so you got the nice Avengers shirt on there.
Yeah, I bought my ticket the day they came online, and it like sold out a few hours after that. So it's like the biggest cinematic event of my life, I think. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Who's your favorite Avenger? Wait,
Uh,
let me guess. Let me guess. Well, you said so it's probably like Iron Man.
nah. That's a good guess. I think Spider-Man's my favorite.
Okay, that actually makes sense too. I didn't think it was one of the original kind of core people. I didn't think it would be Thor or Hulk. I'm not getting the Thor or Hulk vibe, but I can see the Captain America, Iron Man kind of thing more represent for America. I don't think Hulk's technically American. I don't really consider him American, and Thor is 100% not American, so I'm not going to consider Thor in this situation. So, but yeah, Spider-Man. You look a little Spider-Man-ish over there.
Yeah.
You could be Peter Parker. They said they want top 10 poker players question mandatory now. Are we already getting into power rankings, guys? Calm down. It's 12. It's literally we started 20 minutes ago. You know we save the power rankings for the end because then people get offended and then they get sad and then they're like, why don't you message me and stuff like that? So I think that are we gonna have a little power rankings in a little bit? What do you think?
We'll see. Power rankings are hard. There's so many guys, and especially because I'm not playing with them. Like I don't play like the super high rollers and stuff. So I don't really know.
I think a better way to frame that question is somebody said Negreanu would be Ant-Man. If you guys didn't see, Negreanu actually listed his World Series of Poker package 2019 on Instagram yesterday. He's by the pool, and he put his package up for sale. High markup, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty big markup.
yeah, very, very big markup. He looks like he's gonna have a big summer. Me and Chance Corneth broke down his package yesterday because there's been a lot of markup discussion. I'm sure Dan's seen the markup discussion on Twitter. I'm sure if you guys have been on Twitter, you've seen the markup discussion. And Negreanu decided he wanted to get in the mix, posted his package, and my God, a lot going on there for sure. So what's kind of your take on the poker world, Dan, from poker Twitter, from the way things are going right now, from the vloggers, sort of the vloggers and streamers are kind of who are the people that we look up to now, and some people do. What's kind of your take on the poker world from where you stand at?
I'm actually kind of distancing myself from all that nowadays. I feel like I've kind of grown up from like all the little kiddie. Like I used to be on the forums all the time on 2+2 and Pocket Fives, and nowadays I guess it's all Twitch and YouTube. And I don't really follow any YouTubers on Twitch. I'll pull up Razzy's stream. He said you have him on. I think his stream's decent, but like I don't watch it very often, so I don't really like pay attention to any of the streamers. Or I'm on Twitter all the time though. Poker Twitter, some of that stuff is gold.
Who are your top 3 poker Twitter follows?
Kerstetter, obviously. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking on other good Twitter accounts to follow. Oh, Kitty Quo, obviously.
Kitty Quo is definitely.
Yeah. And
she's hilarious because if you guys don't follow Kitty, she's hilarious because I don't know if I'd be enjoying her Twitter account if I'm her husband, to be honest. Kitty, she's hilarious because I don't know if I'd be enjoying her Twitter account if I'm her husband, to be honest with you, Russell, because
yeah,
she like is consistently like calling other men handsome, like kind of putting down her husband sometimes. It's very like strange.
It is.
But it's hilarious. I'm not married to her, so I'm laughing at it. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But if I don't know, listen, would you want your wife saying some of those things, Daniel?
I don't think I would. I don't know if I would like. I'd probably like take her aside and be like, all right, can we like just cool it a little bit?
Yeah, like, hey, maybe we stop hitting on Mike McDonald and Stephen Sondheimer. Just like let's take a step back from that, okay? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why not? Mm-hmm. So, but you don't have a top 3, no third one.
So the third one I would guess would be Feraldo. Feraldo is pretty funny on Twitter.
Feraldo.
Yeah, I mean, I make up half his content though. Him making fun of me is like half his Twitter. It's like a gold mine for favorites and likes. He mentions my name at all, and instantly like 100 likes. I don't know what it is.
What's there to make fun of with you?
We have like a very bantering relationship, and we'll like call each other cunts and stuff all the time, and I don't know what it is, but whenever I come up on his Twitter, his followers just love it. So
they love it. They love it when he's bashing you.
Basically, yeah.
They might. Interesting. I don't know about that strat. But I know the only other person I know that likes to bash people is Doug Polk, and he does not get the same amount of admiration when he bashes people. So it's funny how that works. When some people, I guess, but obviously very different scenario, and you guys are friends, very different story. Whereas Doug, he's not friends with the people he's sometimes talking about.
And, that is true.
Yeah, he's I one of the tweets I found.
That is true.
Yeah, he's one of the tweets I found funny that you quoted was from Jamie Kerstetter. And this is some of the realest talk of all. Anytime you hear this, it's true. He said, when you're asking someone about a hand and they lead with as played, you fucked it up real good. 100% accurate, right? You're like, well, as played, what do you think about this spot? You're like, that's actually a pretty good indicator that's you were made something out of line there.
That is for sure one of my favorite tweets ever.
Yeah, that's She doesn't take many swings at the plate, but when she does take the swing, I feel like she's got a very high batting average. So some people take a lot of swings, some people don't take many swings, and when she puts a tweet up there, I think she does very well. So I think she's got a little admiration out there. When you're working with the coaches at Chip Leader Coaching, what's kind of what do you think some of the mistakes you see out there from people that they're making at tournaments?
A lot of them stems from just pre-flop stuff. They're like, it all starts with pre-flop, and then a lot of them are too tight or too loose pre-flop, and then it all starts from there. Like as played with a 4-deuce suited from the cutoff, I wouldn't see bet this flop, but like I wouldn't have a 4-deuce suited in the cutoff, stuff like that.
Yeah, my young friend Poker Sasha, she mentioned she's like, oh, I was like, oh, what do you know about Daniel? And she's like, well, I think he's very aggressive, and if Sasha tells me that someone's very aggressive, they are literally one of the most aggressive players in the entire world, because every time she says they're aggressive, her aggressive level is going to be different than mine. My aggressive level is here. Okay. Sasha's just going to be up there. So if she says you're aggressive, Dan, I'm going to put you up here in terms of the aggressiveness. Would you consider yourself one of the more aggressive players?
Yeah, I mean, I have that image, especially. I think a lot of times it's like people just perceive me as more aggressive than I am. But I've definitely gone for it a few times, and especially like on live streams, I've pulled off a few big bluffs and got it through and stuff.
So do you find that I imagine that's what you might be referencing. So do you imagine then, or do you think that when you go play and you might think people understand, they think this about you and they perceive this about you, then do you know when they always think this about you? Because I imagine it's like you don't know sometimes who thinks you're too light or who thinks you're too aggressive or who thinks you're too tight. So that probably has to get into your head often, like, is this person, maybe they know my image too tight. So that probably has to get into your head often, like, is this person, maybe they know my image, and like, are you trying to be hyper aware of that and trying to pick up on what people might think about
it's
you?
always hard knowing what people know about you or not knowing it. But in general, like, I'm not surprised when I get heroed down like super light anymore. People just don't fold to me a lot.
So does that mean you have to be less bluffy in theory, but then maybe you bluff some people more than
in theory, I'm supposed to be less bluffy, but sometimes I just can't resist it. Like, there's some spots where just like it's such a good bluff, you know. Sometimes it's a good bluff, and the guy knows it's a good bluff, and will hero me off. But
so you think if you're not getting hero called down, you're not bluffing enough?
yeah, for sure.
I can see that. What's one of the ways that you still work at your game? Because I think that when people are playing for so long, man, when you're playing for 10 years plus, it can be a challenge to consistently work at your game. So what are some of the ways that you personally use to kind of study and get better?
Well, for the longest time, actually, let's start at the beginning. A long time ago, in 2000, must have been 2007, 2008. I had a friend, Brian Yoon. He's got like 3 bracelets. He's a professional poker player also. He came up with a hypothetical. It was like, all right, would you pay $100 plus $25 a month to get better at poker? And I was like a high school kid with like $300 to my name. I'm like, I don't know, probably not. It's too expensive. And he was talking about Poker X Factor. It's like one of the original training sites, like Johnny Backs and stuff. And I eventually did sign up for that. And I watched all those videos, and that's like the biggest way I improved, was watching Poker X Factor. And then from there, it just like was talking with friends and watching videos. And then it became just talking with friends because videos weren't helping me that much. And nowadays there's like solvers and stuff, so I just run PO sims and talk to friends, basically run hands through friends and talk about situations, and then run sims.
Yeah, I think that talking with friends is probably one of the most important things I think out there for people. And
Yeah, for sure.
It's probably, it's a question I always get is, where do I find these friends? Where do I go? Like you got a lot of friends, Trey, but where the hell do I find some friends to talk poker with?
Mhm.
And that's a challenge. That definitely is. Where do you think that people out there can kind of find because people always say, I want a great player to talk strategy. Like, well,
Yeah.
are you a great player? No.
Well, it used to be easier because everyone was on the forums, and you had people like Ike and Bonomo posting on 2+2 and like letting all their secrets out. But like nobody does that anymore. So I honestly don't know. Like I wouldn't know where to start in terms of getting friends. I've had my friends since 2010. So
That's an interesting challenge because
since 2010. So
that's an interesting challenge because I theoretically know where I might find them, but I haven't done that in many years. Like where I found my first friends,
exactly.
at the 1-2 table at the Majestic Star outside Chicago. You just start talking to people and you're like, hey, you think all in here with pocket tens? And I'm like, yeah. You're like, okay, cool. Like that. That's where I found friends. And then from 2+2 is where I made all my friends. Like my roommate in San Diego, my second roommate in San Diego, my roommate in Vancouver. Every roommate I've ever had, I met from people. My second roommate in San Diego, my roommate in Vancouver. Every roommate I've ever had, I met from 2+2. So, yeah. and it's kind of sad that 2+2 really isn't what it was anymore. And what it seems like what happened, Dan, is that we used to have 2+2 and pocket five. Were you a pocket fives guy as well too?
Yeah, I used to be. I have like thousands of posts on Pocket Fives, and I haven't
Are we frozen?
fives, and I haven't.
Are we frozen? Wait,
uh,
the movie Frozen. Okay. Okay. I think you said Pocket Fives. You haven't posted on there in a long time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 2+2. I have 14,000, 15,000 posts. I was one of the biggest posters in high stakes PLO forum for about 4 or 5 years. And then it all sort of died out. And trying to figure out why that is. I think I have an idea, but why do you think the idea of the community has died in a way on the forums?
I think Black Friday had a lot to do with it. I just realized that like I don't know why exactly, but I just know that both the sites started going downhill fast after Black Friday. Maybe just because it's not as easy as it was anymore, so people aren't sharing their secrets anymore. Like I said, like Ike and Bonomo and all those like legends used to post on 2+2 all the time and just give their thought process. Now like they wouldn't be caught dead doing that. So I think that's one of the reasons that it's dying is just people are keeping their secrets to themselves and their tight knit groups now.
Yeah, I think that's what I think seemed like too is there a lot more group chats now. A
Yeah.
lot more Skype chats. Like I'm in some Skype chats where all those guys are in, and that's where they communicate now. And then also, it seems like the communities in poker are a lot more segmented now. You mentioned you're not on YouTube and Twitch, but I think each little vlogger has their own little community. The Nemi and the Brad Owen, they have their own community, but it's in their comment section.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the meetup games or in the Facebook groups, or there's all these segmented poker strategy sites. I mean, I'm sure we know there's 50 million strategy websites out there now. And I think each one has its little community. So instead of this hub where everybody goes, now they go here, here, here. They go to all these other places, which maybe that's actually better for players in some ways. But it's unfortunate that it has taken away the community. And I guess poker Twitter as well. Poker Twitter is kind of taken over. We used to spend 2+2
Yeah.
hours. Now, me and you, we're on Twitter 24 hours a day, 2 days a week. So maybe Twitter, that just our attention used to be here, and now there's just so many more options for our attention, and now the attention's just spread out a lot more too.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, kind of spread out a lot more too.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, kind of sad in a way though.
It is kind of sad. It's like nostalgic thinking back to like how often I posted and cared about like 2+2 and Pocket Fives. Like I used to post on like the beginners forum when I first started playing, like posted $3 online sit and go hand histories and stuff. And like I would get solid responses from these guys that helped me improve.
And now do you post this stuff anywhere, or do you is it
Nah.
just something, do you think it's just something where once we hit a certain point, certain players just maybe they lose that, that desire. Certain players just maybe they lose that, that desire. We think we know the answers to the questions, therefore we stop asking the question, sort of thing.
Could be. For sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure this stuff out because I think it honestly is like there's just so much input in our minds now with Twitter and Instagram and with Facebook and with all this stuff like that before we could say, okay, I want to get better at this, but now it's just Twitter. You mentioned you're on Twitter all the time. Just how much mental energy do you think that takes up?
I have no idea. It's the first thing I do though. Is the first thing I would lay in bed and scroll through Twitter till I'm caught up. I think I have an addiction, but it's not causing me any harm yet that I know of. So not really worried about it.
Yeah, how would we know what the harm is?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that if it's impacting your ability to be successful at your number one priority, which for you it's poker, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then second would be relationship, possibly with your wife.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're like I feel like I have a good balance between poker and my relationship with my wife.
What does she think about the poker professional?
Well, she was with me ever since like started playing. Uh, so she's been supportive the entire time, basically.
What does that support look like in terms of, because I think a lot of spouses of people watching are gonna not have that similar support. So like, how does that support look like so that they
She
can
just like is super chill about me leaving to go play tournaments and stuff. Like she knows that I end up traveling a lot to play these live tournaments, and She doesn't complain when I'm not home and stuff. Uh, and she'll. My favorite part is whenever I'm deep in a tournament, she'll send me like she'll be my little cheerleader and like send me text like, "Oh, go Daniel, go, you can do it." And like it really helps. Like seeing a little text like that, it really like gets your blood going. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I think the idea of support comes in many ways, whether it's by friends or by relationships. And I think especially if you have your spouse who says things like that, rather than saying, when are you coming back? Like what, getting
Yeah,
pissed off and
exactly.
stuff like that. My favorite meme is that coming back, like what, getting
Yeah,
pissed off and
exactly.
stuff like that. My favorite meme is that one. Have you seen that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street?
Which one?
It's I put it on I put it on my Instagram a few times. It's like when your girlfriend texts you, when are you coming home?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not, the show goes on. This is my home. Like that. That is one of my greatest memes, because that's how I think a lot of relationships are for people, is that
Mhm.
you're saying, okay, I'm gonna go to WPT here for 15 days, and their person that they're with is, when are you coming back? Yada yada yada, that kind of stuff. And that has to be mentally draining on you as a poker player.
Yeah, so it's really nice that I don't have to worry about that. She's also she like doesn't get tilted over losses or anything. Like I told her I lost like 10K playing cash one day. She's like, "Really? That's a lot of money." And she's like, "Well, better win next time," but like took it easy. Like it wasn't a big deal.
She didn't break down and be like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think she does worry. Like a a lot of people are going to worry when they lose that much money in a day, but she doesn't worry like too much about like financials and stuff.
Does
She doesn't worry like too much about like financials and stuff.
does she play any poker too?
No, not at all.
But she watches
She
it?
barely knows the rules at all, which I kind of like it that way. Uh, it would be okay if she like knew how to play and stuff, but I really wouldn't like it if she was like a professional poker player. I couldn't be in a relationship with another poker player.
Uh-oh.
It's too much for me.
What would be too much about it for you?
Like going through a downswing can be too stressful if both of you are going through a downswing. Oh my god, I can just it would be insane. Like I'm it's I'm already so much on edge going through downswing that if we are both on edge, we'd be at each other's throats. And I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Mm, I know a little bit about this subject. Yeah, this definitely this is a reality. And if you try to talk hands, sometimes there might be some butting of heads, so to
Oh
say, in
yeah,
strategy,
yeah, for
stuff like
sure.
that too. So that I could see that stuff. I always hear from men out there, their dream is to find a poker girlfriend, not like Marley, fucking the whole poker boyfriend thing, but they actually want a poker girl. They want a girl that plays poker, and not always sure if that's going to be the GTO outlook to have, because as you mentioned, when you go through these downswings, how do you feel when you go through a downswing, Nick? Dan?
I feel like I'm okay on a normal level, but like subconsciously, I'm like losing my mind when I'm on a downswing. Like everything will be fine, but it's just little tiny things that are just that much worse when you're going on a downswing.
So you think if normally when the traffic's a little bit, you're winning, you're like, oh, this is great.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
I got
It's
all the time in the world here. When
that's a
you're
good, yeah, exactly.
I got
It's
all the time in the world here. When
that's a
you're
good one.
losing, that's when you start, this motherfucker needs to go, buddy. Let's go. That sort of thing happens, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can. What's in my hair today? Yeah, I could see that too, for sure. Yeah, I think anytime that we're kind of like that, and we're losing, it's tough to deal with sometimes, man. Do you ever feel like driving off the bridge? Is that emotion you ever get to, or do you feel like you stop? You don't. It doesn't quite go that far.
I always want to just
Ever get to, or do you feel like you stop? You don't. It doesn't quite go that far.
I always want to just like lay in bed whenever that happens. Just like I should get up and shower and eat and study and go play poker. I'm just like I'm probably gonna lose anyways. Fuck it, I'm just gonna stay in bed.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I have to fight when I'm on a downswing. Want to get out of it.
Do you think you've gotten better at that over time?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot.
You just do it.
Yeah, you got to. It's kind of you know, some people have a method or a system that they use, or some triggers that they go to, or maybe they write in their notebook, or they go to the woods, or they go smoke some weed, or they go jack off or something. I mean, listen, the people got everything. I've heard all sorts of solutions out there. Okay. And everyone's got a trick. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a trick and they lose. This is why they don't know how to get over this feeling. Like, they can't just get over it. So what happens is the next time they go play and they have the 4 deuce from the cutoff, and they decide to c-bet a bad flop, and then they decide to barrel a turn, then they decide to barrel a river, then they decide to talk about how unlucky and how bad they run that person didn't fold top pair with the king 10 offsuit and they flopped a king. You got to understand that those sorts of compound effects do take place, and if you don't take that break, you know, this is why the idea of the breaks is very important, because if you're still on edge and in that state of mind, that's when you're going to probably not be playing your best. And if your fundamentals aren't that strong, then that's a disaster for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about the current state of the action selling and the markup situation? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about that with the World Series poker packages being listed out there.
I actually have a story with this. I bank a Timex someone, got punished for it. So I honestly think that markup shouldn't really exist except for certain tournaments. Because in my mind, whenever I sold action, it was like they were doing me a favor by lending them money. So why should I charge them money for that? So that's how I always felt when I was selling action. And then whenever I'm buying action, I obviously don't want to have to pay markup. So that's what I thought originally. Like, obviously markup exists for a reason and stuff. But so my story is with Stealth Monk. You know Justin Swartz, right?
Oh yeah, a former guest of the podcast. We don't know where he's at now. Hopefully he is okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. So he was selling to some Foxwoods tournament. I think it was a 1600, and he's posted on Twitter saying that he was selling at like 2.5 or whatever, like 2.5 markup. I'm like, come on, man! Like, there's no way you're profitable at 250% markup.
Bang bang.
So I'm like, I'll sell you action at 3.0 or something like that. So he ended up buying himself at 3.0, but it was kind of weird because he ended up selling 10% more and then buying 10% from me. So I don't know if that was like kind of iffy, because he's profiting no matter what because he's buying and selling. But I ended up buying or selling himself 10% in that tournament, and he ended up chopping it for 100K. So I had to give him 10K. That was the first and last time I ever bank a Timex to anyone. So that's how I feel about markup. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth was, or I was willing to do it, not anymore. And I think that markup is really it should be settled down. Something needs to change with markup. I think that the current state of markup and people like automatically selling at 1.2 to any tournament should change, basically.
What's the alternative to that?
I don't know if there is an alternative. I think the alternative is just no markup. Like, ideally, that's what I think should happen. Because again, like, the investor is doing a favor by giving you funds to let you play a tournament that you wouldn't be able to play normally, in my opinion. So why should he have to pay a premium to help you? So it's kind of a weird situation.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like, they need the money for like a ton of reasons, like for travel expenses and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see both sides of this situation where the person selling the action, as you mentioned, these not cheap. So if you sell a package for let's say you place a package for 10,000 in buy-ins, you get whatever, you get the equivalent to 10,000, and then you can't afford, because some people don't have money, they can't afford to go to the stop, so they want to use that markup to pay for their hotel and pay for their expenses, pay for their flight, pay for their food and stuff like that. The $15 bananas, the World Series of Poker. You know, so I can understand that. And also from that standpoint, if you are a better player and in theory you are making more money, you probably want to get more, you can charge more because the investors are going to pay that. So if the investors are going to pay it, the business side would say, why not charge that sort of thing like that? And also, I guess when it comes to the policing and enforcement of this, Sean Deeb can't be everywhere. And also, I guess when it comes to the policing and enforcement of this, Sean Deeb can't be everywhere. The markup detective right now. Mm-hmm. So we can maybe police it publicly, but privately, it's not like you can still sell at markup and no one's going to Phil. How many still can sell to his friends at 2.8 and no one's going to know any different?
Yeah, exactly. I'm always conflicted about whenever I sell tournament. I'm conflicted about whether I want to sell at the highest markup I can, or what markup I think is fair and what I would buy myself at. I'm super conflicted about that in tournaments. Luckily, I'm selling a lot less action these days, so I don't have to worry about that as much. But it was something that I really had to like work on. I really hate the idea of selling action. Like if I don't have to sell action bankroll wise, I won't at all. Um, it's just a hassle to me. I think the taxes and like there's just so many bad things that come from it. So many people getting scammed. People buying losing packages and stuff. It's kind of a disaster overall. But I don't know of any way to fix it because people are gonna want to sell action. Like I don't know.
I mean, we wouldn't have high rollers if they couldn't sell action.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Like, we would take away a pivotal part of the poker world, the super high rollers and these sort of the 300K. Like, how many people in the 300K have 100% themselves in that situation?
So I really like if selling action was like made illegal or something. The 300K, would it even exist though? Or if it would exist, would it just be like entirely made up of just like recreational players?
Right.
So it's interesting to think about, like what it would be like.
Yeah, it would. It'd be much different. You'd have a lot of those guys. I mean, it'd be chain. Unfortunately or unfortunately, that's never going to happen. And I think the high roller scene's here to stay. Is that something? Is that those tournaments that you ever aspire to get up to at some point in time, to play the Aria series or to play these 100Ks, 300Ks, that sort of thing like that?
Not really. I've played a handful of 25Ks in my life, and I think they're kind of silly, to be honest. I don't really aspire to play like the super high rollers or anything like that. Uh, it's just it's a lot of money and a lot of risk, and your ROI is going to be so low compared to like the other tournaments that I don't really want to deal, especially because I would have to sell so much action, and I don't have like a backer or anything. So like having to sell to a bunch of different pieces to a bunch of different people to play a super high stakes tournament where my ROI is going to be super low. It just doesn't really interest me.
Yeah, Jack Allen says, I feel like they're dick measuring contests. The fields are so tough.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially uh in the high rollers, they kind of underestimate their opponents also, and it's all an ego match. Like, oh, this guy is like only winning 2% ROI, and I'm at a 4% ROI. He sucks. I don't know. That's just the feeling I get from them. It's I just have no interest in playing like 25Ks or 100Ks that often. Even like unless it's like a really good 25K or like a World Series 25K no limit, I'd probably like be interested in playing. But like I'm not gonna play the 50K. I didn't play this Florida 25K that I heard was really good. And by really good, I mean it's like really good in terms of a 25K. But
Right. Yeah, Velvin Heavy says, what's the point of playing 100K when you sell? Yeah, Velvin Heavy says, what's the point of playing 100K when you sell 75% of yourself when you can just play a 25K with 100% of yourself and it's 200% softer field? Like, it makes no sense. It's actually a good question. I haven't really thought about the answer to that, but
yeah,
what do you think that is?
I think I agree with him. Like I'd rather play a 10K with 100% of myself than sell 6% for a 25K, which is like what I'd end up doing. And I don't really know why people are so obsessed with the high rollers. Maybe I guess everyone that's playing them just thinks they're making money, but like that obviously can't be true.
Right. I mean, there obviously is the element of competition and the idea of trying to be the best you can be. And to be the best you can be, you want to compete against the other best players in the world. And this is the stage and the scene to do it. And of course, with that comes the glory. And so if you're competing against the best players for high stakes, even though you don't have a big piece of it, it is kind of weird, right? Like, why, if you're going to play the 100K and have 5% of yourself, and also, I guess you might say if you do have a good score in that, then you can sell action for future events too it's an easier way to get noticed and stuff like that too. But it doesn't seem like a lot of those guys are necessarily in it for the glory. Maybe, but maybe I underestimate how much those guys are in it for the glory.
Yeah, so it never really made sense. It's like someone like Stevie, for example. I feel like he's like quiet and reserved and stuff. I think he's in it just because I think he thinks that's the best way to make money. Because like he doesn't seem like a glory chaser or anything like that, or like have a massive ego and just wants to stroke it by beating the best in the world. But I don't really don't know.
Yeah, this is a good question. I'm going to ask some of the next people we have on that play in these sorts of things like that, because I'm not super familiar with the tournament structure and world. And I mean, my approach to maybe Solve for Wise in the chat might be Berkey. Shout out to my man Alpha. Maybe Solve for Wise in the chat might be Berkey. Shout out to my man Alpha Reg, Big Bad Berkey. He might be a good person to ask about this. He says, or I'm not sure if this is actually Berkey. They said there's a lot of incentive to play larger. First, the 200% softer is an arbitrary made-up number. Agreed. Second, if you can sell at markup to the larger buy-in, you are free rolling a larger piece than if you had just bought into a smaller event. You're simply making more money.
Well, if you're gonna live like that's living off markup though. I'm like I said, I'm not an advocate for like charging high markup, and especially in these tournaments. Like if you're gonna be able to charge a high markup, you shouldn't really. I won't say that because like it's they're so expensive, but I mean even the markup that you're gonna end up selling, like you won't be able to sell at super high markup in these like 50Ks, 100Ks tournaments. And if you are, you're like likely going to be taking advantage of your investors, which I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, an interesting question. Something I'm just not knowledgeable enough about to really make a strong stance on there. I mean, everyone has their own approach. I think if you want to play high stakes cash and you get backed, then why not? That's fine. If you want to play lower stakes on your own money, I think my approach for poker most of my career has always been to just, if I get to high stakes, I'm going to get there on my own money, and if I don't, then I'm not going to. But I've also played some higher stakes in the past few years where I've sold a lot of action, and I think that's perfectly fine too. So I think people have different approaches to it, and I don't really think one way's going to be better than the other. Maybe it gives like a false sense going to be better than the other. Maybe it gives like a false sense of reality to some poker fans out there who aren't aware that this is happening, and they sort of think to be able to compete against these guys who are the best because they're playing in there, are they able to sell action or whatever, then they sort of strive to be this unrealistic thing that doesn't actually exist. They're thinking, oh, okay, I need to build up my bankroll to 500,000 to play in a 50K, when not really. You can have no money in playing a 50K if you really know how to navigate. 500,000 to play in a 50K, when not really. You can have no money in playing a 50K if you really know how to navigate yourself properly and do it. So from that standpoint, that kind of I could see that existing out there too. And I'm sure people look at the high stakes games, cash games, and they say, oh man, I want to play that cash game, when they don't realize is that person's great at making friends, or that person's great at finding that backer, or that person's great at knowing rich people. Like these are talents that we don't talk about sometimes, but these things do exist when it comes to, that's like that's a variable that is often not spoken about in training videos. Is how do I find the rich guys? How do I find the rich friend? How do I befriend those type of people?
Yeah, I think especially in cash games, the selling action for cash games doesn't make sense to me. I understand being fully backed because then like you risking zero, but if you're selling action to play a higher stakes cash game, almost always the lower stakes cash games are going to be softer. So like it just doesn't make sense to me to take 50% of yourself at 510 when you can have 100% off 2-5.
Yeah, I think the big difference might be 5-10 here in Vegas compared to the higher stakes and limit games. These games are a lot of regulars playing the win game here and stuff like that. So I can understand that maybe that game is going to be softer, but I don't think a lot of poker players maybe look at it that way. They would rather play the higher stake game, because I know some of these guys too, is that they would rather play the high stakes games because they see the money on the table and they're just like, oh my God, I need to be in that game. Look how much money dumbass Dave has over there. So they'd rather just play that higher stake game, have less of themselves than they would in the lower stake game. And that's the way they look at it. And I mean, it makes sense because I guess, I mean, I get both sides of it too.
Yeah, I actually I can kind of see it because like I've been like I said I've been watching the high stakes on Friday. Like I want to get in that game, but like I'm like just slightly too. I don't want to say nervous or scared to like put up all my money to play that game. Like I've played 2040 no limit before, which is like the biggest game I've ever played. So like I would be okay playing like 100, 200. It's just I'd be more comfortable if I sold action to that. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
can kind of see the idea of selling action to play a higher stakes game. It just logically though, it doesn't really make sense for me to play that game when there's a perfectly good like 10-20 game.
Yeah,
Like
man,
running.
this is a very, I think this honestly, this has sent people broke, man. Like people have gone broke because they are this like fascination and obsession with getting this higher level. Even for some people, that's 510 or 2040. They're like, they just don't accept or whatever. And we could argue that you want to keep pushing yourself to get better and to challenge yourself. But I think a lot of people pull that trigger way too early, very underrolled, very underskilled, not game selecting properly when they are doing that. And just the entire obsession over playing these higher stakes instead of playing the lower stakes where your win rate's going to be higher and you got all your action and you're properly playing the lower stakes where your win rate's going to be higher and you got all your action and you're properly rolled for it. I think just that entire thing itself, I mean, that's what makes poker is, you know, once again, this is a common concept, but I don't think it's often explained exactly how it manifests itself and then how it impacts people and how it sent a lot of poker players out there pretty busto when they just need it. You know what I'm saying? They need to get to that higher stake level. They couldn't do what you did. They would go play that 100 or 200 game on Live at the Bike at stake level. They couldn't do what you did. They would go play that 100 or 200 game on Live at the Bike and risk all their money, even though they might be uncomfortable and not playing their best. So is that something that you might want to do? You might want to get in that game and
I've been thinking about it. I'm a little scared. I really want to play with Garrett. I've never played with Garrett, and he's like when I was coming up, like Tom Dwan was my like poker hero. Like I loved watching him play. Every episode on Poker After Dark or High Stakes Poker, every episode with Tom was like amazing to watch. I feel like Garrett's like that now. Like I love watching him play. So I think I do want to like play with him just to like play. So I think I do want to like play with him just to like get the chance to play with him. And I think on some of the lineups I'd be profitable. But again, it's like it's expensive. It's risky. Like I can win a lot of money and I can lose a lot of money. And I'd be absolutely fine not losing or winning that amount of money. So
I have to tell you, playing with Garrett and Nolan Hold'em, not on my list of things I'd like to
do. Yeah, for sure. I just want to, because I love watching him play. I've never met the guy, never talked to him, but he's my favorite poker player to watch especially on Live at the Bike or Poker After Dark when he's played a few times. He's just really entertaining to watch play.
So one more thing on the markup. Solve for Why says 1.05 and 100K means you can have 10% of yourself for 6.5K. So you have a pretty significant free roll with a comparable ROI. Yes, the field is tough, but it's very small. Another great point as well too.
Yeah, but you can just play like a 5K and have 100% of yourself, and your ROI is going to be more than it is in the 100K. So it's all like a kind of thing. Is that Berkey, by the way? I have a funny Berkey story.
I think it's Brett. Sometimes he's on his own name too, but then he could be on the Solve for Why name too. I feel like better for business maybe on the Solve for Why. Get some CTAs to that YouTube channel. They have some very, very quality content that you guys gotta fucking check out right now. Shout out to my man Big Bet Berkey. Shout out to Christian out there as well too. Always in the
Christian's
street.
a chip leader coach, student, by the way.
What'd you say?
Christian he's a chip leader student.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. Of course, shout out to Chip Leader Coaching Week on the Poker Live podcast. Give me the alpha reg, Big Bad Berkey story.
So it's not really a good story, but it's
okay.
I'll start. It starts with Dan Coleman actually. So speaking of 25Ks, in my first ever 25K I played, I got it in versus Dan Coleman. Had 98% on the flop and ended up losing the pot to bust. And I was like, "Fucking Dan Coleman!" And he comes like I heard someone got to him that was like fucking Dan Coleman, that he likes being that guy. And then later on in LAPC, I busted Berkey in like 7th place, and he's like fucking Deoxy. I'm like I'm Deoxy, like I'm that guy. Like it feels good when someone's like fucking that guy. It feels good to be that guy.
It feels good to be the guy.
That's my story. It feels good to be the guy that people are cursing.
Did you make a question? Did you have a questionable holding?
I I remember him. It was when he was vlogging. He said it was like one of the worst hands he's seen. I don't think it was that bad. I had the nut flush on the flop, and nut flush draw on the flop, and 1.5 million chips. Like I was chip leader by a mile, and I like check raise committed with the nut flush draw, and he had flopped it straight. And I got there.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Was it a lot?
So
How many big blinds are we talking about here?
I don't even remember. I think it was like 20-ish, more than 20, probably 25 big blinds or something. But I had like 150 big blinds at this point or something like that.
Fucking Deoxy.
Plus, there was like it was ICM pressure. Like we're on the final table bubble or the TV final table bubble. So like I have plenty of fold equity and stuff. So yeah, I'm the fucking Deoxy guy. It feels great hearing someone say that. Be like, yeah, I caused that pain.
Yeah, I think a lot. I remember I was reading a book that I think Lance Bradley wrote, and I believe it. I can't remember who said it. Was it Hollywood Haxton? I don't want to quote this wrong, but they said something similar. They love bringing the pain to people in that situation. They love testing them from that. They like doing that. It's I've never felt that feeling except if someone really annoys me or if it's a regular I hate, then or I just battle with a lot. I love stacking them so much.
For sure.
But yeah, I've never really actually Jay Paget in the chat, this actually relates to a tweet you put out. He says PLO Emmett Joey episode on Poker Go is sick. Yeah, listen, it's not sick for me because I didn't make any goddamn hands. But I saw you put on Twitter that Randall Emmett's one of the most annoying people you've ever seen in your entire life.
Oh my god. He's just super annoying. He doesn't shut up. He's not funny though. Like there's some people that don't shut up and they're funny. Like Helmuth, I don't mind having Helmuth at the table. He's like kind of annoying, but like I get it. It's kind of like endearing. And then Negreanu also talks a lot. That's fine. But then you have Emmett who just like goes on. He just doesn't shut up. He doesn't say anything when he's talking. He just says words for the sake of saying words. And it's just so annoying to like watch or to be against, or even in the same room. It's just so annoying to like watch or to be against, or even in the same room as him. Like I was playing the Venetian and he was at the table behind me and then the table in front of me. So like 2 or 3 tables apart, someone calls floor to complain about Emmett being too loud. It's a disaster. I don't think it's good for poker. I think he's just annoying.
Gonna be a good clip, Dan, right there, because a lot of people feel the same way.
I mean, that tweet got a lot of love, but me saying Randall's annoying got a lot of love.
So here's the question. Okay, so we want the recreational players who play very questionable. All right, Randall understands this. He understands he's not winning money at poker. I mean, maybe he even thinks he might be. Maybe he's getting better over time, stuff like that. But he knows he says, "I'm the fish at the game. Don't you want the fish in the game?" I think those are his tactics, so strategy. But we often talk about we want those players in the game. They're good for the game. But we want bad players in the game, but we want them to behave a certain type of way. And if they behave a other kind of way, then we don't like them. But isn't that what the villain? Don't we want the villains in a lot of ways? Like if you're not in that room, don't you isn't that kind of what makes poker beautiful? Is that you can have someone like that who is annoying. There's a lot of people out there.
It's just so cringy to me watching him play or listening to him.
There's a lot of people out there.
It's just so cringy to me watching him play or listening to him talk. I'd much rather have like if I had to choose between him or some reg that was winning at the table, I'd rather take the winning reg. It's not worth my sanity to have his money at the table.
I would much rather have Randall at my poker go table. You're crazy. Okay, listen, give me Dylan Lind or give me Randall. Give me all the Randalls surrounding me in a circle, just talking to me nonstop, and I get to play a pot limit Omaha game with them.
I would lose my mind, man. I really would. My sanity is worth too much to me.
Yeah, I certainly can't argue that too. I think that everyone's going to have their, Lily Torrance says profit matters, but work environment matters too.
That is true.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think this is an unpopular take. I think
it's not. It's not at all.
Right, and I guess from Randall's perspective, he doesn't give a fuck. So right, and I guess from Randall's perspective, he doesn't give a fuck. So you have Randall who doesn't care. You have the rules which allow this, You have people like you who dislike it, make him cringe, gets under your skin. You have Randall who understands this. I think he just does it more to kind of piss people off, man. I think that's
I think so too.
That's what his tactic is. So then the question becomes, is it at some point, is it, what if we have all Randall? What if people see that? And it kind of goes back to that ESPN effect back in the day where you had people acting like clowns on television, and then you'd have the Havad Khan bulldozer, and then you have these more antics because that's what people think gets them famous and well known. So then there's the snowball effect. So we might say, well, what if there's a snowball effect from this Randall Emmett?
Didn't they make a rule against that? They made an excessive celebration rule because of Havad Khan.
Right. They did do that. You're right. It did get too far. That's true.
Yeah. They were tired of it. They didn't want that shit.
Yeah, and someone said the issue with Randall is he said negative shit. He does say some mean
shit.
Yeah, and someone said the issue with Randall is he said negative shit. He does say some mean stuff at the table. So
yeah,
now maybe we don't want and I'm friendly with Randall too. And he did come out to play that PLO game because I was playing. He said, "I'm coming to get you." I said, "Listen, Randall, you come get me, brother. You want to play? Let's fucking play. I'm ready to get it." So, but yeah, it's Jack says Randall isn't going to create a movement. Never know.
Well, it's like who was that guy that went deep in the
movement? Never know.
Well, it's like who was that guy that went deep in the main that year? Who wouldn't shut up? I forget his name.
Amy Gold.
No, the English guy.
Will Kassouf.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Will Kassouf.
I feel like he's similar to the Emmett. Like, I feel like Emmett is copying off of Will Kassouf.
Okay, question: who would you rather play at a poker table with for 3 days straight? Disregarding play, okay, because obviously they both, I think Will Kassouf's gonna be a better player than a Randall Emmett, debatably, and I have absolutely no proof or standing on that. I'm just theoretically saying that from what I believe to be true. Who would you rather have at your table, Randall Emmett or Will Kassouf?
I think I'd have Will Kassouf, to be honest. I don't really remember exactly how bad it was, and I never played with him. But also the accent, like English accents take away like 10 points of like they add 10 points of anything and they take away 10 points of anything negative. Like a sixth girl with a British accent is instantly an 8. So just the accent alone makes it not as bad as Emmett.
I'm not ready to go on this ledge with you, Dan, but I'm willing to consider checking the ledge out and evaluating the ledge. 6 to 8. I mean, that's a strong.
It's a strong jump. I don't know. I love accents.
Yeah, what's your? Please tell me your wife is British.
She's standard American.
Oh my God! Imagine she had a British accent. Holy, she's already a 10. Clearly, she'd be like a 12. I mean, my God, how you wouldn't be able to go play poker, but you'd want to be around her all the time.
For sure.
Have you ever considered getting her English accent class?
No. That would be fun though. Taking her to England so we can like hang out and then listen to other people speak English on TV.
If I'm your wife, I'm not taking you to England, buddy.
And listen to other people speak English on TV.
If I'm your wife, I'm not taking you to England, buddy.
Too dangerous.
Too dangerous. Listen, you're already telling me 6 are walking around. They're turning into 8s. I mean, like, doing 8 is insane. What would Thin Crust say? Thin Crust Poppy, I played against a joint group one in ACRs that that is not me, but I do appreciate people carrying on my legacy on ACR with multiple screen names that kind of sound like my name. Perfectly happy with that. Get my name out there. Not me. No, it is not me. Mark. So this is a good question. Kassouf or Emmett? I'm going to go with my boy Randall Emmett. I'm just going to go with him. Sorry, I don't want to fucking play bluffs at a table ever in my entire life. He's just, I don't want to hear it. All right, I'm done. I don't want to hear it. All right. You can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Okay. Mark Mazza says, I played with Emmett at the Commerce in LA. He tip shamed people, said his rims were worth more than everyone's stack, smelled like BO, and was eating Doritos and licking his finger. His rims were worth more than everyone's stack, smelled like BO, and was eating Doritos and licking his fingers. Total D-bag. Yeah. I mean, I've heard a similar experience before from people that he does say things like that. Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Last time I was within earshot, he was talking about like his car. He's like, "Oh, I didn't bring my nice car, only my BMW i4 or something like that." Like, "Oh yeah, just my shitty car, my BMW." Like, grow up.
Yeah, to me that's very like when you think about
You grow up.
yeah, to me that's very like when you think about LA and people say things about LA, like I'm like this is LA. For a very like exaggerated version of Los Angeles, but that's Los Angeles. That's what it's like in LA, So it's I don't know, man. Yeah, it is what it is. I can understand it. I can understand that. You mentioned you think Garrett Adelstein is one of the most entertaining poker players right now on television. This actually leads me to a question I've been thinking about a lot lately. Who do you think you love the top list? Who are the top 5 most entertaining poker players of all time to watch, whether it's cash game, tournament, in your mind?
Durr is number 1, I think.
And I want to go into that real quick. I want to explain this because I think we've thought Garrett Adelstein is entertaining to watch. You with that real quick. I want to explain this because I think we've thought Garrett Adelstein is entertaining to watch. You have to go back and watch high stakes poker. You have to.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not close. It's Garrett's one of my favorite players ever to watch, but Durr it's on another level of just insanity when Durr played. It's crazy. Durr's 1. What's number 2?
Probably Ivy, just because he's like an enigma,
Mm-hmm.
So Ivy's definitely number 2. I'm trying to think.
I'm gonna have a controversial top 5 because I've thought about this a lot, and
really.
Oh, you think about this. So controversial top 5 because I've thought about this a lot, and
really.
Oh, you think about this. So my number 1 is gonna be Tom Dwan, of course. Okay, he's up there. And now we could argue these lifetime things, or we could argue like a shorter time period. But I'm being a little results orientated. But one of my favorite players to watch is gonna be. That's up there. I'm going to put Garrett number 2 right now. And then number 3, it's either going to be Jamie Gold or Daniel Negreanu. But Jamie Gold only World Series of Poker and high stakes poker because he was one of the most entertaining poker players of all time to watch. So he's in my top list. But Sammy Farhat is going to be number 3 for me.
That's a good one.
At the peak, because it's like I'm trying to factor in. Are we factoring in longevity in the discussion, or are we factoring in where they were at in their peak? Because I think Negreanu in his peak back in the day, and even now, is just he's been entertaining for years, and he's still playing poker. So I think he's been entertaining for years, and he's still playing poker. So I think the longevity thing has to matter a little bit.
Yeah. So I think for number 3, you're gonna like my number 3.
Okay.
Ilari Sahamias. I think he's a PLO guy, and he's just super fun to watch play. Like, he's just out of his mind. Both like his play and the way he talks and stuff. Like, didn't he like kiss some drunk dude? Kissed him like last week or last month.
Now we're getting the qualifications for your list. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Ilari's up there. Negreanu, I like watching him play. He's especially he'll be like Negreanu. I like watching him play. He's especially he'll be like my favorite thing is I think you have this hand. This hand beats me, but I think you have this hand. I call, and then he loses that. Like that's classic. And then probably Garrett will round up my top 5.
Yeah, I really want to do a breakdown list on this because, like I said, some people have years where they were only hot for about a year or 2. And they were great to watch for that year or 2, and then they sort of fell off or they went away and stuff like that. So it's a question I've been thinking about lately. I mean, maybe some people put Helmuth on there. They like Helmuth. I mean, he's entertaining in his own way. His blowups I really miss the blowups. We haven't seen too many, unfortunately, lately because there's just he's not really playing as much on television. So we don't get to see too many of those. But give a couple. I think
Mattisau.
Oh, we don't get to see too many of those, but. Give a couple.
I think Mattisau. He had so much emotion when he was playing. Like when he was winning, he was the happiest guy ever. And then when he would get stuck, he would just be like he would look so freaking depressed when he would get stuck in like a high stakes poker episode. So I think he's a good one also.
Yeah, he always got so sad too.
He really did. It looked like I felt bad for the guy when he like got stacked.
There's a time he cried. Remember that he cried on ESPN?
I don't remember that.
No, he busted. No, he
did. He started crying.
Yes, he busted. I think he busted 10th in a tournament, and he was like, "No!" And And he was, I don't, you know, I'm not making fun of the guy. I mean, I've cried sometimes too, not poker necessarily, but yeah, he started crying. He wanted to find out. He wanted it so bad. I mean, I want to see that type of emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't see, think about, can you imagine Dan Coleman crying from poker experience? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't see, think about, can you imagine Dan Coleman crying from poker experience?
No.
You know?
I like Burson. Burson was a good cry.
That was a great cry. Celebratory cry.
That was good. Yeah.
I mean, that's you got to think about that. That's how many hands, how many years, how many grind sessions from online poker that built up into that moment right there, and finally have this a moment you dream about in your entire life. This dream, you know, win the main event, win this, like, be at the top of the stage, thing like that. So
that was supposed to be me, man. That was the year I was 2 of 27. I got 24th in the main that year. That was when my reputation as a punter got started. It's the 2012 main event.
what happened?
I came in 2 of 27. I was like massive chip leader at one point, and then I lost a big flip. I remember one hand I played against Russell Thomas, Kitty's husband, where my entire thought process on the river was, we're deep in the main and this guy's probably going to be scared. So I'm going to check raise just because, like, he's probably going to be scared. Like, it's a lot of money. So I check raise and he snapped my dick off. And then I, like, 3 to 5 fours into kings. And yeah, that's what got my reputation started.
Sounds like it's well deserved.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely well deserved at some point.
Yeah, actually, the solver I work with has a this guy's gonna be fucking scared check raise frequency in there too. So it does actually account for that too. I don't know if the solver raise frequency in there too. So it does actually account for that too. I don't know if the solver you're working with has that in there, but my solver does have that in there.
For sure.
So I see some people out there. Gene Cassar Perna says, "What about Doug?" Watching Doug play on stream, I'm obviously entertaining my friend, but top 5, top 10, you know, like I don't think he's given us enough moments on that level for me to consider him in my top 10. I can't quite put him up there yet. And I'd be curious even where he would fall on my top list, because he only really had a few months where he was playing on the streams. And yeah, I don't know. Top 10's an extreme thing. We got guys like Patrick Antonius in that top 10 list, man. Okay, it's gonna be hard to compete with. Patrick Antonius got in $500,000 with the Jack 9 against Sammy Farha. Okay, gonna be hard to top that. Okay, I mean, you got Doyle Brunson on that list as well too. You know, you got Helmuth who's gonna be on that list and stuff like that. So there's just, you got the guy who you got the idiot from Northern Europe who had the 10-3 offsuit against Helmuth. I mean, there's just too many options on there for me, man. You want to give a shout out, Daniel? You want to give us just too many options on there for me, man. You want to give a shout out, Daniel? You want to give a shout out to give somebody?
I got a few. Shout out to start with my wife and parents, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Few of my friends, Biyun, Shane Train, Gags, and Feraldo. Give a shout out to those guys. Shout out to Pratt. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Who?
PLP.
Oh, PLP.
Your main man. I haven't talked to him in a while, but like I think he was. You know how he started laddering up? He was like one of our groups, like original. He was in our group first, I think, back when he was playing like $22 tournaments before he started laddering up.
Explain and expand.
Before he started laddering up.
Explain and expand on this, please.
Come on. All right, so he started. he was like just kind of whenever I don't know exactly what happened. I just know that he was hanging out with us, and then he started hanging out with like Timex, and then I think when he was done with Timex, like started hanging out with Doug or whatever, and he just kept going up the social poker ladder basically. I don't know if it was like purposely or anything. I just know it happened, and I haven't talked to him in a while. But
yeah, this is obviously they mentioned this for specific women out there, the concept of laddering up, which Listen, you can't argue with it for some people. Okay, true. All right, it just is. But I haven't heard this for actually dudes in poker laddering up kind of thing like that. That's a concept I had not considered.
Yeah,
The friendships in poker laddering up kind of thing like that. That's a concept I had not considered.
yeah.
The friendship group ladder up.
I don't really know anyone else that's laddered, at least not as successfully as Yush. But he I don't know exactly how it worked. It was a long time ago and stuff, but he was definitely a ladderer.
Well, he did put on Twitter recently, PLP's back.
He did, yeah, I saw that.
We missed him. Listen, no one loved him more. I just missed the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. He like quit poker, unfollowed the people in poker world. You know, went down the Jordan Peterson rabbit hole for a while, and went down the learning how to become a man. Went down the Jordan Peterson rabbit hole for a while, and went down the learning how to become a man rabbit hole for a while.
Yeah, I ended up having to unfollow him on Twitter. I couldn't take it anymore.
What was he putting up there?
I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. But I think it was all just crypto stuff and like just book recommendations. I don't read, so
read a book. Done.
That sounded pretty bad, but like it was, yeah, just like stuff like that. I just wasn't interested in.
Listen, I can handle a lot when I'm watching my Twitter page, but you start recommending books to me. That's where the unfollow button hits. Okay, that's where we're going to be unfollowing. That's you know, kind of speaking about annoying players earlier. I know I didn't give shout outs, guys. I'm gonna give them a second. How do you deal with these annoying players at the table when you have a guy like someone that Randall Emmett there and he's annoying you, he's talking nonstop, he just won't shut up? How do you deal with that from a mental standpoint there?
Well, I don't know. It's always hard for me.
Standpoint there.
Well, I don't know. It's always hard for me. Because like I feel bad when I put in like my earphones or stuff, because a lot of times it doesn't work. They'll like see your earphones in, and then they'll keep talking to you, and like you don't want to ignore them and like be a dick. So you just kind of like deal with it. Like the last time I played at the Venetian, there was this WPT there, and I had two super drunk guys at my table. And like, if dealing with drunk people, it's kind of fun for like first 10, 15 minutes, but it gets tired quick. And I just like started, like, it was a lot of bantering at first, going back and forth. And then it was a lot of just like one word answers, like trying to ignore him the best I can at that point, hoping he would bust.
Yeah, I think this is where this would have been a good caption. Yeah, I think this is where this would have been a good caption. The Russell Westbrook had the recent thing where he made the game-winning shot against, or not Russell Westbrook, sorry, bang bang. Damian Lillard had the shot where he made the shot and then he waved bye-bye. I was trying to think of a caption for that, and my caption was, when you finally bust the annoying player at the table, won't shut the fuck up, and you bye-bye to them. But then I was like, when someone tells you a bad beat story in the poker room, you also say bye-bye.
Yeah.
You do not want to hear it. But yeah, dealing with drunk people, man, I try to humor them and stuff like that. And if I'm in a good mood and I'm winning, it's okay. I can kind of do it. Like I just troll. You know, it's easy when you troll people. You just troll them constantly, and you don't really take it seriously. But when you're losing, holy shit, man! I remember I was at Run Up Reno recently, man. This kid sits down, would not shut the fuck up, just kept talking and talking and talking. I look at the kid. I go, bro, you talk more than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. You don't shut the fuck up, man. Like what? You just talk. And he's like, no, man, I don't talk that much. I'm like, no, dude, you don't shut up. And then he might be watching this. It is what it is. But then he beat me out of pot. He had 7-7-9-5. And I'm like, how much do you play any PLO at all?
Very little.
Listen, the poker gods set me up to get stacked by this guy, Daniel. Okay. He raised the button. He isolated 7-7-9-5. I had ace, king, queen, jack in the small blind. I could have 3-bet, but I just called. It was a Badoogie hand. Flop comes down, king, queen, 7. 2 diamonds. He's got bottom set. I've got top 2 with the ace jack. So a backdoor, so a straight draw there with the gut shot, and 1 diamond in my hand. So 2 diamonds on the board. I was destined to lose it all to this guy. And if I would have got lost to all this guy, because we were super deep, I would have left Reno immediately, and I might not have ever played poker again. If I lost this fucking guy. Luckily, he only got me for a couple pot-sized bets, okay? So in the end, I only lost about 200 big blinds. So it wasn't as but bro, it's 3:30 a.m. I'm tired. I instantly get up from the table. I go, fuck this, I'm done. I grab my chips, I slam the racks on the table, put my chips in there, and I go, I got to get the fuck out of this K-State. I got to leave. I got to leave here, man. I just could not. I couldn't do it. I know he follows me on Twitter and he might watch this. So that's okay. I don't care. Please shut the fuck up, guy. Okay. I just can't do it, man. I couldn't do it. Yeah. You ever play with somebody like that where they just.
You just like, I don't remember ever specifically telling someone that I don't want to talk to them, but I think I might have done that a few times before, where just like, dude, I want to chill, listen to music and stuff. But it's hard, man. Some people can't take hints either. Like, I have my earphone in. Like, that means relax over there.
Yeah.
Can't help themselves.
Yeah, man. It's I've never seen. I've seen Joey leave like that. Maybe I just get tilted. Yeah, man. It's I've seen Joey leave like that. Maybe I just get tilted. I don't know. Maybe some people just get tilted. Maybe it's different at tournament. Tournament you can't leave because you obviously got to keep playing. So when the guy's being annoying, you have absolutely no option. You can't. And one thing I'm worried about is how do you what do you do on breaks? When you want to break at a tournament and 15 minutes and then everyone's coming up and talking to you, stuff like that. What's the GTO strat to deal with those interactions that you have on breaks when you want to be left alone?
Well, on breaks, I usually like want to hang out with my friends so I can like have someone to like vent to or just like hang out and talk hands with. Like, oh my god, there's this cunt at my table who just won't shut up. It feels cathartic to like get it out of your system, to like complain to your friends about that. So like I'll do that and usually just hang out with my friends and just like shoot the shit for a few minutes. Always take a piss though. Usually just hang out with my friends and just like shoot the shit for a few minutes. Always take a piss though. There's something about playing tournament poker where if I'm at home just chilling, I still drink a ton of water. I go to the bathroom every like 5-6 hours. When I'm playing poker, it's every 2 hours on the dot. I have to take a piss or I'm gonna explode. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Where does that happen? Why is that?
Just whenever I'm playing a tournament, it's just every 2 hours on the dot. Every break, you just have to go to the bathroom, or I don't know why. I don't know if this is just me or not, but it's crazy.
Maybe you go to smoke a little weed over there too. I mean, that's what I think a lot of people go to the bathroom for on the tournament break. They go smoke some weed, maybe they drop it, maybe they take an edible, anything like that.
Nah, people actually think that I actually don't smoke almost never, and people are super shocked to find out about that. They just assume I'm a stoner.
I could see it.
Yeah.
People think I'm on drugs every day. So either cocaine, weed. I don't know what they think. They think I'm high every single time I do a podcast because the way I speak and the enthusiasm I bring.
The energy.
Yeah, the energy. Like, oh, this guy. I mean, I don't know if they think I'm. But I have tried. Edibles. I tried the pen, the little pen thingy like that, and now I've been done it for about 2 weeks. And if you guys have noticed, I've been crushing on the content. Any correlation there, guys? Yes, it is. I'm stopping weed, man. I'm done. Even though it's helped me, it did propel me to a near final table last year at the World Series Poker PLO event. I got to say, I play poker so well. I don't know what it just. I'm so focused and locked in. So
yeah, I don't know. I've never done Adderall. Never smoked weed and played. I very rarely get drunk when playing. Like I don't do. I'm a lot of times I'm driving. I'm like super cautious about like DUIs and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't do it. Plus, it's a job. Like trying to be professional when I can.
I was gonna say this sounds like a very professional approach to it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of it is personal preference, and then like it's an added benefit that like, oh, I can say I'm being professional.
That's true. I think some people would say taking Adderall doesn't make you any less of a professional poker player.
No, I mean a lot of people like probably say it makes you more professional. It's like taking steroids when you're a biker or whatever.
Shout Lance Armstrong, my God. Yeah, I wonder if we drug tested people, how many people would fail if you couldn't take Adderall or smoke weed in poker, which obviously is never gonna happen. Then I think a lot of tournaments seem to be wiped out.
For sure. It'd be me and a bunch of fish.
Maybe you should push for this then. You could be the leader. Like I'm the advocate for Pop Omaha, the great game Pop Omaha. You could be the advocate for drug testing. They'd love you.
I don't want to get hated by everyone.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be good. Has that ever happened where you got the outrage came your way and the pitchforks were out and they were coming after you or anything like that?
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember. I mean, the closest I've come is just me and my friends from talking about like a tipping scandal. It wasn't really just a scandal.
Okay.
I tipped a guy like 12% because it was really shitty, like super shitty service. And the guy's like, "Yo, 18% minimum." I'm like, "Come on!" Like it was super shitty service. And that's the closest I've come to a scandal, I think.
So well, let's expand on that one. So I can understand that because I think that if you have a standard 18% tipping, you punish the people that are really good at their job.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I want to give the people that are really, and we might argue you should give them over 18% in that situation. But I like to give tip. I maybe I will start off like 20, 15%, whatever. And then if you're really trash, maybe I'll take like $1 away or something. But I probably won't do too bad. But if you're really good, I'm going to go significantly over. I'm going to try to reward that person because when you see someone who's exceptional at their job, you can't just tip them the same person that's barely fucking trying. To me, I don't like to handle it that way.
Tipping is the most tilting thing ever to me. It should definitely be like in Australia, there's no tipping. And it's just so much better. You don't have to worry about it. You don't get fucked by people who don't tip. It's just so much better to have like the tip built into the salary of the waiter or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's just it doesn't make sense. Like why tip one person versus the other? Like why does this job get tips and why does this one not? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Why not tip everyone? Why do we tip the door guy, the door guy at the fucking the guy gets your bags at the car at the Wynn and then you tip him $1? Why don't you tip the person that checks in? Why don't you tip the person that you talk to at the local market store? Like why? At what point does you know what I'm saying? Like how did what genius came up with this etiquette that we would just start tipping all these different people like that?
Yeah, tipping is it's so dumb. I hate everything about it.
And one thing I never understood is why
it's so dumb. I hate everything about it.
And one thing I never understood is why only the valets run to get your car, but no one else runs to get you things. What's the guy sprinting? These valet guys are just dead. So like, what are you doing?
I think it's because it could be because of tips. They're trying to induce a tip.
So here's what I thought when I used to work at the restaurant back in the day, my last job. Shout out to about 12 years ago. Why wasn't I running? Can you imagine about you're running? Like if I'm a waiter, I'm just sprinting. Okay, you want a water? Like you just sprint through the place. And that might be the GTO strat. Why are you not sprinting? Is that not safe? I don't know.
It's probably safety.
Seriously, you ever seen these valets? They're like Usain Bolt going to your car. It's like, buddy, just pace yourself a little bit there. And I understand they got to go far to get their stuff and stuff like that, but never made sense to me out there. I don't understand the sprinter guys out there. So let me get some questions from the chat out here, guys. Give me some questions out there. I'm gonna get some shout outs, man. We got my guy Wayne Chiang from Live at the Bike, one of the top Live at the Bike commentators in the entire world out there. What's going on, Wayne? Someone say it's repeating itself. I don't know why that is. Poker End Boss is out there. TD's in the chat. Dean Nelson, Thin Crust, Velvin Javi. What's up, brother? Mark at Dean Nelson, Thin Crust, Velvin Javi. What's up, brother? Mark Rubin out there. Mark Rubin says, where does he live? Where do you live at, Dan?
I live in Orange. It's in California.
Orange is in Orange County?
This happens, by the way. This happens like 85% of the time I say someone I live in Orange. I live in the city of Orange in Orange County.
Okay.
The city name is Orange, and it is in Orange County.
Orange.
Yeah.
Did they just give up on the name or something? They just gave up trying?
I don't know. It's a decent sized population. It's got like 130,000 or something like that. 160,000. I don't know.
They're like, what do you want to name it? Not just name it Orange. Makes sense. Let's see here. What do you think some improvements that could be made to the World Series of Poker are? Let's see here. What do you think some improvements that could be made to the World Series of Poker are?
I don't know. When I start playing, I'll know. I always forget until like the end of the year. Let's see. I think the structures can be improved. I don't know. I think the World Series in general does a really good job, to be honest,
Yeah.
for like what they have to do and stuff. But the registrations can be involved. The registrations can be better. The cash games and sit and goes section can be better. Like they got rid of chip runners for cash. Like, do you know how bad that is for cash? Like a
Yeah.
fish busts and wants to rebuy for 3,000, and you're gonna make him get up from his seat and go get chips himself. He's gonna just leave half the time. Like it's so bad. Uh, that's one of the biggest things to me right now, honestly, is the chip runners, and the registration lines and stuff like that. And the boxes are always a disaster. But in general, like I think the way that it's run is really good. Like the TDs are always decent. The like number of rooms and how they work the like different rooms is really good. I think I have to give World Series props for all that stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That the actual in-game structures and how they are the in-game and how they handle the tables chaining. There's so many people there, so many tables. They handle that really well. That registration line process, yeah, that certainly could be improved. How that could be improved, I'm not necessarily sure outside of having more people to handle it or some sort of system like that or of anything of that nature. Obviously, having no chip runner for cash games is completely fucking terrible. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think one way around it is if you play higher stakes or play some games, you bring extra chips yourself. That way, when the fun player does bust, you give him some chips, and when the regular bust, extra chips yourself. That way, when the fun player does bust, you give him some chips, and when the regular bust, you make him go walk to the cage.
That's smart.
Yeah, I like to do that in a situation where there are no chip runners. I like to have extra chips, and that way you can kind of give them out in that situation. But you got to be careful. You don't want to get scammed and stuff like that there. So you don't want to lose your chips, and there's that whole other risk as well too. So I don't want to necessarily advocate everyone do that because, you know, you might go through some lessons and live and learn there as well. So I think that is one thing. Obviously, maybe we upgrade that hot dog stand in the main room. Dan, what do you think about that? You know, they got the little hot dog stand there with the
I haven't tried any of those yet.
I have, and maybe we throw a little upgrade. You know, I understand having the desire to have the hot dog stand in the middle of the room, but this is not the Kentucky swap meet. All right, this isn't the lower Cicero outside Chicago flea market. Okay, this is World Series poker. All right,
fix the bathrooms also. The bathrooms are busted for half the year last year.
Right. Maybe we get the plumber in there, you know, and they obviously they've given me the reasons why this can happen. Older building, stuff like that, I understand, but come on, you know, and I think they bring in some extra bathrooms last year. They bring in like extra. Come on, you know, and I think they bring in some extra bathrooms last year. They bring in like extra ones outside, or did they have the same two little trailers out there last year? Dan freeze? Did you freeze, Dan?
For a second, yeah, I'm back.
No, yeah. Did they have extra bathrooms outside, or did they just add in the axe throwing thing?
I don't know. I think they did add. I don't know if those have always been there. I thought they might have always been there. Those little, like, moving bathrooms out by Dave's place.
Yeah.
All American Dave.
I want to be in the meeting when they decide to get the axe throwing. They're like, all right, what do we want to get outside? We got an All-American Dave out there. Okay, he's been the same setup for about 6-7 years. What else can we put out there? And then they're like, you know, I saw this axe company at the First Friday downtown in downtown Vegas. Why don't we get that axe company? Yeah, that's what poker players want. They want to throw some fucking axes there. It's like, okay, perfect. Like, what are you doing? Like, are we trying? Is there? It's like, okay, perfect. Like, what are you doing? Like, are we trying? The hot dog stand guy, and I get it. They're focused on other things. I'm not arguing that, but maybe we hire someone to worry about that. To worry about the, you know, and maybe I'm being a little bit critical out there. I guess when I think of World Series poker, I think of a very prestigious, one of the greatest events in the entire world that should be treated as such. So maybe I'm just treating it with a little bit too much respect and care and worry, and maybe their energy is only allowed to be spread out so thin, and they can only focus on the things that matter the most, which is the actual play itself, which, as we've said, do a great job at that. And they can't be bothered to worry about the fuck itself, which, as we've said, do a great job at that. And they can't be bothered to worry about the fucking axe throwing guy outside, my All-American Dave. So I get it, but
I thought you would think about the the salesmen that line the hallways.
I'm just trying not to get upset. That's all.
why
I'm just trying not to get upset.
my
I
first
don't
thought
want it.
for you.
I don't even want it. Those guys are great at their job. They all have boots. The phone charger guys have boots at the Planet Hollywood, and they have boots at Fashion Show Mall and a bunch of other ones. I always go by and try to have them sell me something. They have boots at Fashion Show Mall and a bunch of other ones. I always go by and try to have them sell me something. Just like doing it. It's the same people, same company, same products. They're the best salespeople I've ever met in my life. These guys are so good.
Timex has a great story about that. If you ever get him on the pod, ask him about his sales story there. I can't tell it, but it's a great story.
Oh boy, I can only imagine. I can only imagine out there. We got a donation from Evian Vegan. Poppy, can you post more shirtless Instagram pictures for science? A €5 donation. Thank you, Evian. I will not be posting any more of my package on Instagram like Granu. So unfortunately, no, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So Nick Triangle, Joey, no shout out for me and Nessie. I got my mom listening for the I'm gonna do that. So Nick Triangle, Joey, no shout out for me and Nessie. I got my mom listening for the first time. First of all, I don't believe you. So if your mom's watching, I want you to send me a photo right now on my Instagram page of you, Nessie, and your mom watching. Nick, if you don't, I got to ban you from the chat. I don't believe your mom's watching out there. But I hope she is. I want her to be watching or listening. I don't know if I believe it. So, okay. So do that. Question from the chat. Alex W. Favorite hand and moment from PCA 2019?
Favorite hands? Trying to remember. Probably my bluff against, I can't remember his name, the German guy. The one that somebody said looked like a penis. What's his name again?
Let's go with that. No, it's Christian Vogelsang.
There we go, Vogelsang. Yeah. I actually don't think I played it the best, but I ended up pulling like a pretty decent river bluff off.
Stop.
But I ended up pulling like a pretty decent river bluff off.
Stop. What was the hand? What happened?
He opened button and I 3-bet 9s from the small. They actually got the sizings wrong on the broadcast. So he opens to like 100. I made it 360. He calls. Flop came queen jack deuce with a flush draw. I c-bet, which I think is a mistake, but whatever. He calls, turns a deuce. So there's 2 flush draws now. I check. He checks. River ace completes the backdoor flush draw, and I put him in for like basically a pot-sized shove, and he ended up folding. So I think that was like a pretty cool spot. Again, I don't love the way I played it, but cool moment. And then my favorite moment was probably when I sucked out with 6 left. It wasn't a suck out, like I got it in as a flip. I got it in 3s versus ace jack, and it ran out 9-9-4 ace 3. And I ran over to Feraldo and took a sip of his drink. And was super excited.
What did the other guy have?
He had ace jack.
Okay, and you had ace 3?
I had pocket 3s.
Pocket 3s.
Yeah, 9-9-4 ace 3.
Oh my god. Okay, I think it 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, pocket 3s versus ace jack.
I cannot imagine that when you're in that moment and then that happens 6 left. I mean, first the pay jumps are so big. It's this huge moment that you sort of wait for as a tournament player, and you're finally there and you get it all in. You're behind. That happens. Ace comes. You're like, oh my god, and then a 3 comes. I mean, that's pretty glorious moment right there.
That was like a $650,000 3 right there. Like I go out 6 for like 300K, or I get second for 950 if that 3 doesn't come.
Might not be sitting here all calm in this chair right now. The 3 doesn't come, huh?
Yeah, probably out there grinding stuff.
What are you doing today? Well, I just got done playing about 10 tournaments. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Jared in the chat says, "What about your bluff at LAPC final table versus that kid? Lost his mind after he folded ace-ace."
All right. That was my favorite tournament. It wasn't televised, so nobody knows what I had except for me. And nobody knows that he had aces, but he like told everyone he had aces.
Mm-hmm.
So this is with 7 left, and I'm massive chip leader. I open king 6 of spades on the button, and the big blind 3-bet. I don't remember the sizing or anything, but he 3-bet. I called. Flop was 9-5-3. I want to say.
Okay, 9-5-3.
Or 9-7-3, something like that. He bets and I call. turn was an 8. He bets and I call. He check called. Turn was an 8. He checks. I bet he calls. And river was a 7, and he checks, and I put him all in with king high, and he tanks forever and folds aces. That was a fun hand. That was one of like a really kind of like suicide bluff. Fun hand. That was one of like a really kind of like suicide bluff. But it got through. ICM, man. ICM's crazy. ICM and like wanting to make that TV final table.
I see why they people hero call you a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at these hands you're telling me. You're like, oh, king 6. What about folding the king 6 to 3-bet? Is that something we advocate to the students, or is this something that in leader coaching we don't advocate our students do? There's
a lot of things where I say like, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, me too. That's why I can't even make PLO videos, because I just play so many hands pre-flop that I'm like, you should probably fold this hand, but I'm gonna play all these hands pre-flop from the button.
Yeah,
I'm playing a lot. You know, it's just
There's a great story where like my dad, I taught my dad how to play poker. When he first started watching me play, he knew nothing about poker. He didn't know what beat what. He just was happy when the chips got pushed my way. So when he first started playing, he played this one pot, and he like had a hand that was bad, and I told him like, you shouldn't do that. And he was like, but I saw Chris Moorman do that. I'm like, you're not Chris Moorman. That was a great.
You are not the winningest online tournament player of all time. No, with most cash. He's the winningest, or is it most cashes for Chris, or which?
Most cashes. I think he has like 12 million in online cash, something like that, maybe more. It's nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah, my dad and Mormon have a mutual respect for each other, though. When at LAPC final table, Mormon was on the rail, and my dad, like during the winners photos, they were all standing up next to each other, and my dad said he heard Mormon say, "I can't believe I'm standing this close to Deoxy, Dad." Yeah, my dad's famous, man.
I love how your dad has become a figure. I mean, he's in the YouTube description for the podcast here. You know what I'm saying? Like he's become like a figure in the poker world here a little bit.
Yeah, half the time someone sees me when I'm playing live, they're like, "Oh, how you doing? How's your dad?"
Yeah, that's one of the first things I asked you. How's your dad doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just such a rare thing to have a dad be a public sort of supporter figure of a poker player in the poker world. That I think people just think it's really cool and kind of appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
You know, we got a good question up here from Alex. Question: top 5 players that they think top five players that think they are great but are actually horrible.
I don't know, man. I don't know who thinks they're that great or not. It's also hard. I'm like everyone's obsessed with thinking about how good people are. And I used to fall for it also. Like I used to be obsessed. So like, oh, this guy's really good. This guy sucks. And I'm just fall for it also. Like I used to be obsessed. So like, oh, this guy's really good. This guy sucks. And I'm just tired of it. Like I'm not gonna overestimate or underestimate my opponents anymore. I'm just gonna like let people be. I'm tired of like judging people based on like 1 or 2 hands that I've seen. I think that's like rampant in poker, is someone be like, oh, that guy sucks, when they just honestly have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense where that comes from, because we think people do overly judge people in general, and then also you judge people off of a limited sample size of information, and in poker, those information tend to be hands, and we don't really notice the hand that they played aces and bet 3 straights. We notice the strange play they made with a bluff, and that's all we remember. We notice the strange play they made with a bluff, and that's all we remember. We don't remember the times they played well. We just remember that one weird bluff hand they played. So
yeah, exactly.
Jay Smith, I can't read that comment, buddy. I can't read that comment. It's out of line, bro. Oh my gosh, is that out of line? Can I read this comment? Are you reading the chat at all, buddy? Oh my gosh, is that out of line? Can I read this comment? Are you reading the chat at all by any chance?
I'm not. You got me curious though. I want to pull it up.
I'm just not going to read that chat. I'm not going to read that comment. If someone's watching this on YouTube back, you can see the comment. I just can't do it. Let me see. Where was that? There was a good question up here too. Who are his closest friends? And there's a good question up here too. Who are his closest friends in poker? I mean, I guess you kind of mentioned that with Feraldo and with Gags.
Yeah.
And
Feraldo,
yeah.
Gags, and Bune and Shane are my closest friends probably.
Okay. What is the thing about Chris? No one asked that one. Someone asked a question about how you broke through. What was your breakthrough point?
My breakthrough point was I got second in the Sunday Million in 2000. My breakthrough point was I got second in the Sunday Million in 2009 for 177K. It was my first time ever cashing in the Sunday Million. Not the first time ever playing it, but my first ever Sunday Million cash was 177K. And so that's basically how I broke through. And then from there, I started losing a bunch. Basically, I thought I was better than I was, so I started playing like the high stakes stuff where I probably wasn't gonna be making money. And then after that, my next breakthrough was like my main event run, where I got 24th. That was basically that.
In 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 2012.
2012, okay. I can't handle this chat today. Top 5 poker players he'd like to see poolside photos of. Yeah, top 5 poker players you'd like to see poolside photos of, similar to Negreanu, and take the Dan Negreanu poolside challenge.
Oh man.
Number 1 for me is going to be Doyle Brunson.
Really? That's an interesting one.
I'd like to see Doyle Brunson in his bathing suit at pool take it on the Dan Negreanu poolside challenge.
I feel like he'd be the type to wear a Speedo.
I can 100% see him wearing a Speedo at the table. Correct. Yes, I can. I am. Number 2, I don't know. Number 1's probably Doyle Brunson. Number 2 might be Todd Brunson for me. I just maybe like we'll go.
You like those Brunson men.
Great men right there, Dan. Great high quality men right there. Great men right there, Dan. Great high quality men right there. DT Poker D-Dots, can you get him to shout Oatvam one time?
Oatvam?
Oatvam.
Is that what it was? Oatvam. I don't know what that means.
It's this guy made a big bluff with 7 deuce at a final table during I think it was an EPT, and he just gets up and goes Oatvam. Oatvam. And it's like, I mean, I can't really do it justice because the way he did it was quite amazing. But yeah, it was it was pretty cool out there. So what do you got planned here coming up here over this next month then? It was pretty cool out there. So what do you got planned here coming up here over this next month then? Are you traveling to Montreal for anything, or are you just going to be?
I need to decide whether I want to play Montreal or not. I was planning on it, and then I'm feeling kind of oi, and then so we'll see. It's Montreal, and there's nothing until Montreal. I think just taking it easy until Montreal, and then straight to the summer for 2 months.
Let's get on chip leader coaching then. Our as they've sponsored.
Yeah, gonna do lots of coaching, lots of lessons, lots of group lessons and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think about the business overall, the company overall?
It's pretty cool. Actually, when Chance first announced it, I considered joining because like I really wanted to learn how to the live read side of it from Chance, and I decided against it. And then I think it was the year or 2 later, I was playing with Chance, and I asked him like, "Oh, how's chip leader coaching doing?" He's like, "Good." And then he's mentioned like, "Oh, we're always looking for new coaches or something." He's like, "I'll think about it." And then I actually played in the main event with Nick Jivkov, who I actually played in the main event with Nick Jivkov, who runs kind of the back end of it, and we started talking about that, and I ended up joining on.
The experience so far, you think it's been a good profitable adventure for yourself and for the students involved?
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty cool. I can see some of my students getting better. It's also like it's builds up camaraderie. Like I saw one of my presidents won it's builds up camaraderie. Like I saw one of my presidents won a smaller tournament at Venetian for like 25 or 30K, and like it got my like Papa juices flowing. I was like, I'm so proud of him. Like he did it. Yay. So yeah, it feels good.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. Anytime you work with a student or coach and they have good results, it feels great. But equally, when they work with them and they do have bad results and they're struggling, it kind of does suck. I think I take that too. They do have bad results and they they're struggling. It kind of does suck. I think I take that too personal in the past, and it just really impacts me. And a lot of people I talk to say you shouldn't let that happen because it's on them to perform and to carry out what their goals are and to execute and be disciplined. But at the same time, I still can't help feel responsible that I may have let them down as the coach in some ways like that. It's still, it kind of sticks to me a little bit too. So toughest part about coaching.
I love the fact that you're invested in how they do. Like I love sweating people. Last year for a year or two, me and my friends had this like staking fund where we bought a bunch of pieces and stuff. And so it's just so fun getting to sweat people and rooting for people to do well. Because a lot of times poker is just so negative. You just in general, you just anti-sweat more than you sweat people, I feel like. And so getting more positive like sweats out there is pretty good.
Yeah, maybe that was more of a thing back in the day, the anti-sweating thing. I mean, you drive yourself nuts if you're anti-sweating people for 10 years. It's just you can't keep up that energy for that long, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It can be fun every now and then, like like a good example would be playing on like a Scoops Sunday main event day. And I decided I would like skip the 10K just because like I have no interest in playing like a tough 10K online. And just looking when it first starts, looking at the bottom of the list to see who's busting, like, oh, that guy lost 10K. That's 10K I'm not gonna lose. Starts looking at the bottom of the list to see who's busting, like, oh, that guy lost 10K. That's 10K I'm not gonna lose. So that can be like kind of fun and stuff. But in general, I think anti-sweating is it's a lot of bad. And it's kind of like a bad habit that I worked kind of hard to get over. Now I don't anti-sweat nearly as many people.
Well, I definitely anti-sweat some online guys. I'm gonna be real with you right now. The old seat scripters, the fucking annoying rags that are just like sit out in. I mean, I anti-sweat them as hard as I can. If I see them bust anything or get stacked by someone, I am rejoicing. I love it. I love when they do it.
Now I only anti-sweat like the angle shooters and like the scummy people, the scammers and stuff like that.
Fucking. Do you think Men the Master is the biggest angle shooter of all time?
Stuff like that.
Fucking. Do you think Men the Master is the biggest angle shooter of all time?
Oh, for sure. He's the worst too. He's just so bad. Everything about him is just annoying and cunty.
I feel like he probably has a lot of real subtle angles that are like borderline angles, but he's perfected them. Maybe like a fake fold or like a fake throw in. He probably just has all these little things that he does that to the inexperienced player, they get taken advantage of, but maybe a more seasoned player can kind of see through it.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Men the Master. All right, we're going to wrap it up. One piece of poker advice. Daniel, can you give us one piece of poker advice that people out there right now, if they're watching, they might be able to implement today in their game that might make them a more, no, I think I worded that wrong. I might make them a better player.
Try to play your A game. Just, don't overthink it and try to make the best decisions you can without going, like, overthinking it. A lot of poker is just poker. Like, yeah. Pretty shitty, but it's the best I can do.
We're going to hit the lab on that one. All right. Two podcast guest recommendations. Who you got? Who do you think would be great on the podcast that I might need to consider having on here, Dan?
I think Feraldo would actually be a really good, entertaining guest. I don't know who else.
After that shirtless photo I saw on Instagram, and I mean, I already hear people
telling
me that I need to have him on. I really want to have him on though, man. That's a guy I want to get to know more about. It seems like I've just heard a lot of great. I really want to have him on though, man. That's a guy I want to get to know more about. It seems like I've just heard a lot of great things about the kid from a lot of different people out there. You know what I'm saying? So I really want.
He gets out of line a lot for sure.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. Heard some stories. Who do you think second one?
Do like a non-poker person. Like, have you gotten like All-American Dave? I want to hear his story.
No, I haven't, but I have to before World Series starts. I have to get him this year. I really want to learn more about him and his business and everything like that.
Yeah, I've been eating his food for the last few years. And
right. He's been feeding.
He'd be a good one.
He's been feeding the community now for years. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to do a high-stakes Norman Hold'em online review video. Some of those crazy hands, those pile bots like to play. because, you know, those guys, the OG Red Bear and Linus Love, they play the most out of line hands. We're going to do that. And then I think Saturday, I'm going to do I'm going to start doing a regular Saturday news video. Top story: Will Negreanu's World Series of Poker package sell out this year? Tune in to find out.
Big
Dan
package.
bought it. I know Dan got a piece of that package. It's looking pretty thick right there. Okay, that's a thick looking valuable package right there. He's excited. Dan was messaging me not. Did you see that package Negreanu posted? My God, man. You got any thoughts on Negreanu's package that he posted?
I'm just curious how he set up that package. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like a normal package.
It really doesn't. And let's just everyone's already seen it, but we'll just pull it up real quick here. That's the end. You know, it is nice, little not safe for work, guys. So if you are at work right now, I would encourage you to please look away from the screen if you can right now. If you're at work, I don't want to get you banned or anything like that. Okay, so we're gonna show it now. All right, we're gonna show it. Let me put up on screen right now. All right, so right here on his Instagram page, he posted this photo of his package right here. And as you can see, he's got the little baby turtle, little figurine right here. So right, you're basically saying is that what's your takeaway when you what was your impression when you see this photo right here?
It just doesn't make sense. Like what? I'm not sure what I'm looking at exactly.
Right. It's like why? It's like a ball or something. Like, is there something in there?
It looks like
why? It's like a ball or something. Like, is there something in there?
It looks like his pork and beans are kind of like the wrong side.
Yeah, someone said he might have. Someone said he might have like a disability, like something wrong with him. You know, not disability, but he's got like a deformity or something like that. What is?
I love that comment. I can't stop looking.
Yeah, I can't stop looking.
I love that comment. I can't stop looking.
Yeah, I can't stop looking. That's for me. Wait a second. I can't stop looking. I need a piece of the package ASAP. I'll pay whatever market. Not everything you do at the pool should convey information. My favorite ones. I love these comments so much. And it's crazy.
There's so many good
actually told me there was a pool in the photo yesterday, and I didn't realize it until. And then now I found the basketball hoop right today. So this is like
oh wow.
I learn something new every time I look at this picture. Like the basketball hoop. I mean, oh man, it's just glorious, guys. Let's wrap it up on that note, guys. If you want to smash that like button, super kick it. I want you to load it up, give it a nice kick. And we're going to be back tomorrow, new video. Monday, next podcast, ACR CEO Phil Nagy comes on. Lex Feldhaus on Wednesday as well. That's it. Dan, if they want to follow you on Twitter, where should they go?
At D-deoxyribo.
Okay, I don't know how to spell that technically. Otherwise, I would spell it out or say it. It's a kind of a hard name to pronounce. I'll put it. It's in the description below, guys. I'll put it there too if you want to pronounce I'll put it. It's in the description below, guys. I'll put it there too if you want to follow. If you want to stay up to date on how his summer's going, if he has a big summer, and if you want to go apply chipleadercoaching.com, you can go chipleadercoaching.com, apply. You can also sign up for their free boot camp May 9th. Link in the description below. Get your series. Start off on the right track. That makes sense. Alex Fox going to be one of the coaches, one of the podcast guests this week. Chance as well too. Dan got big time for some reason, and he's not currently on the top 5 of the coaching list. But maybe they'll make a late edition and add him on there as well too. He's not currently on the top 5 of the coaching list, but maybe they'll make a late edition and add him on there as well too. So that's it, guys. Take care. Peace out.
All right. Take it easy.
Adios.